Hey there, I'm Frank Mitchell. On this channel, it's all about helping you understand your car and keeping it running the way it should. Whether it's routine maintenance or solving those tricky problems, I've got you covered. If you find this useful, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to watch till the end. You might learn something that saves you time and money. All right, let's get started.
Since 2016, vehicles have been classified by the Dirección General de Tráfico according to their emissions level and engine type. Energy efficiency is a distinguishing criterion for applying certain environmental measures, and the way to distinguish each vehicle is by means of labels with colors and letters used to differentiate the most efficient from the least. Thus, the DGT stickers are a second element to be placed on the windshield along with the ITV sticker, but their placement is voluntary. The authorities have access to the vehicle information through the license plate regardless of whether the sticker is placed or not, which is why it is more common to see it in large cities that already have low emission zones than in smaller towns where the population is still little or not affected by these mobility policies. What do the DGT environmental badges mean? According to the DGT, when this regulation came into force in 2016 as part of the National Air Quality Plan 2017 to 2019, Plan Air 2, approximately 50% of the vehicle fleet that was awarded this distinctive generated less environmental impact than the other 50%, which was not awarded any type of label and which corresponded to older vehicles. Since then, the panorama has been evolving and the proportion of cars with a label has grown, which is why it is now being considered. To review the criteria, as explained below, here is a summary of what each label means and what it implies. Zero label with a blue background. The zero label is awarded to passenger cars, light vans, vehicles with more than 8 seats and goods transport vehicles that have been registered in the DGT vehicle register as battery electric vehicles, BEV, extended range electric vehicles, REV, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, PHEV, with the capacity to drive in 100% electric mode for a minimum of 40 kilometers, as well as fuel cell vehicles, FCEV. Currently, this label implies having most of the advantages offered when creating traffic or parking restrictions in the city. They are recognized as cars with zero label from the Renault Kangoo Z van for being an electric vehicle to the Toyota RAV4 PHEV through the Hyundai Nexo as one of the few cars with hydrogen fuel cells sold in Spain. ECO label. The two-color green and blue ECO sticker has been one of the most questioned due to the way in which many manufacturers have adapted a large part of their ranges to these criteria, especially thanks to light hybridization. They are issued for passenger cars, light vans, vehicles with more than 8 seats and goods transport vehicles that, according to the vehicle register, have been homologated as non-plug-in hybrid vehicles, HEV, plug-in hybrids with a range of less than 40 kilometers, PHEV. Vehicles powered by natural gas, CNG or LNG, or liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, and comply with the Euro standards of those classified with the C label. The homologation of hybrid vehicles with minimum electric influence or ascribed to this classification once they have received the installation of an LPG kit. In any case, examples of cars with ECO label range from the Dacia Sandero Stepway ECO G to the Fiat 500 hybrid thanks to its micro hybrid system, but the Toyota Prius, one of the pioneers in terms of self-recharging hybridization, also wears the green and blue badge. Label C. The green C badge is awarded to vehicles with internal combustion engines that comply with Euro 4, 5, and 6 gasoline and Euro 6 diesel standards. These are passenger cars and light commercial vehicles with gasoline engines registered since January 2006 and diesel since 2014. This sticker also distinguishes vehicles with more than 8 seats and goods transport vehicles, regardless of gasoline or diesel fuel consumption, with a registration date regardless of their energy source, as long as they have been registered with the DGT since 2014. The current market is mostly based on C-label models as these are traditional engines that comply with environmental requirements. They range from a Seat Tarraco 1.5 TSI to a Citroën Jumpy Furgon Blue HD through an infinite number of examples such as the Renault Clio with a gasoline engine or the Volkswagen Passat diesel. B-label. The yellow B-label is applied to older vehicles with petrol engines registered from January 1, 2001 or diesel engines from January 1, 2006, as well as 8-seaters and goods vehicles, petrol or diesel, registered from 2005. All comply with Euro 3 gasoline or Euro 4 and 5 diesel standards. It is possible, and in fact it does happen, that a car is already homologated with one of these standards, but has been registered before the stipulated validity date. This is due to the fact that many manufacturers update their engine ranges in anticipation of the entry into force of new regulations. In such a case, it is possible to obtain the B label on a car that does not have it. Most of them were manufactured in 2000 or even 1999 in the case of gasoline and in 2005 in the case of diesel. There are users looking for a cheap gasoline or diesel car with a B label who may find our ranking of the best second-hand cars with a B label useful. Vehicles without label, Category A. This category corresponds to all other vehicles that do not comply with the aforementioned emissions regulations, i.e., the oldest vehicles in the fleet, which do not have a sticker and therefore were registered before January 2001 in the case of gasoline, and before January 2006 in the case of diesel. Their owners are the most affected by the restrictions on access to low-emission zones, regulated parking and circulation and pollution. Episodes such as those that sometimes occur in capitals like Madrid. How to get the DGT environmental badge. The DGT indicates 5 ways of acquiring the environmental label, which costs €5, at the post office or through the post office website, in the network of workshops of the Spanish Confederation of Workshops, etc., or in other authorized workshops. At administrative agencies at IDEAUTO, the Institute for Automotive Studies, Instituto de Estudios de Automoción. In the case of fleets, they can be requested from GANVM, the National Association of Car, Truck and Motorcycle Dealers. Where to apply for the DGT environmental sticker. The DGT environmental sticker must be attached to the windshield in the lower right corner in the case of cars and in any visible place in the case of motorcycles. In any case, the DGT warns that its placement is voluntary, unlike the ITV sticker, and serves mainly to facilitate the verification work of the relevant authorities, such as local police or parking controllers and agents. How to check the environmental sticker that corresponds to a vehicle. The DGT has a web page to consult the environmental badge, where you can check if a vehicle meets the requirements to have some kind of environmental label. It is only necessary to know the license plate number, and it is not necessary that it is in the name of the person who is going to make the consultation, since it is information in the public domain. This procedure is free of charge. Temporary and territorial validity of environmental labels. Since its entry into force in 2016, the criteria of the current classification has been reviewed and, despite the fact that it has been in force for several years, there is speculation that it may receive modifications in the near future to adapt it to the vehicle fleet and its evolution. One of the possibilities speculated on is that the benefits of the more polluting categories may be lost as these cars become more obsolete, although this is currently pure speculation. The DGT points out that the environmental badges are valid for driving in Spain and are not legally valid in other European countries that also have environmental categorization systems, such as Germany, Austria, Denmark, or France. In this case, the DGT advises to find out before making a trip if it is necessary to acquire an environmental badge of the country to be visited, and the necessary procedures to obtain it. In any case, it is not illegal to drive with the Spanish badge on the windshield outside the national territory, so it is not necessary to remove it from the windshield to leave the country. What is the future of environmental badges? Given the reform of the environmental labeling of the DGT that from Carwile Juan Francisco Calero has addressed in one of his videos, it is more interesting than ever to know the requirements for a car to look from a sticker as beneficial as the blue zero to another. That is almost relegated to the regulatory legality to circulate as the yellow bee. In CarWow we help you to buy your new car, electric car KM0 and leasing. In conclusion, DGT stickers serve as vital environmental badges that not only promote awareness of vehicle emissions but also encourage responsible driving habits. By understanding the significance of these stickers, we can all contribute to a cleaner and healthier environment. As we move towards a more sustainable future, let us embrace these initiatives and make informed choices that benefit both our communities and the planet. Thank you for watching, and remember, every small action counts in the fight for a greener world.